I do not believe that a child should receive their own device. I do not believe that a child should be left alone with the device, and never should there be a concept that they have a private space with the device. Private space, whether that's a corner they can hide, whether that is the bedroom, the wider kind of, wider society has for always had no problem with the TV in the kids' room. Right? And then that would be either connected to live TV and then to cable TV, and then having the ability to be able to play DVDs or videos back in the day. And now obviously discs, and now it's obviously digital. So just stick a USB in, and now people have their own actual internet wireless devices, making it even worse, smaller, able to put under the covers of the bed, able to hide a lot easier if someone comes in. So there should not be the presence of any devices in these areas at all. Muslims have to be very, very strong on this issue. Again, best practice works for, if it's proven and families are able to get around certain ways, then that's great. Because I am sympathetic, despite my very authoritarian kind of approach. And I know that I come from that generation that depends a lot upon that kind of strong discipline, not taking any nonsense. And I appreciate that people are different, kids are different, and they might not have that ethic. And there's nothing wrong with that, as long as your system works. But it better work. And you better not get soft on it. You better not become weak on your approach. Don't let the liberal pressure of wider society, of kids' rights and letting them do what they want to do and let them develop. Don't let that dominate your thinking. Safety should dominate our thinking. Protection should dominate our thinking. You don't have to go authoritarian and hardcore like I would do, but you do need to understand the ethic. You must have the sense of urgency. And just to support, by the way, not my own approach, but the approach of a more understanding, more liberal, more easygoing kind of technique, just to support that, I do want to make it clear to folks that you can't protect your children from everything. Education is education and getting folks used to this kind of stuff is actually far greater an objective than just banning them, because you can't ban children from life. Devices, the internet is part of life. Pictures, images is part of life. Fitna, haram is part of life. If you're bringing up your child to never watch a video or never be able to access, something like porn, which is an absolute epidemic now amongst the youth, let alone the adults, let alone Muslim adults, let alone this nonsense that actually has started to now settle down, where couples are being now watching porn because they believe that it's Islamically justified to help their relationship, and all this kind of stupidity. You'd be amazed. So if it is justified at that level amongst people, then why would they care about the general ethic of youth seeing it part and parcel? It's part of youth. We all did it. All this kind of nonsense is now starting to come out, and they actually think that people just get over these kind of things, that people can visit these sites, watch these images, and that will not affect their psyche. It will not affect their makeup inside, and how it will then fall out, or how it will then seep, if you like, into their relationships later. Not just with their to-be wives, but then women in general, and then maybe even to wider society too. So it is important to recognize that they have to learn responsibility. They have to be able to deal with what's in front of them. I always used to use the example of whatever magazines and newspapers and content that you're in control of, you try to control. You can't control the billboards. You can't control the big adverts that are outside, when you're going to school or when they're going into, anywhere. SubhanAllah, in the UK, everywhere, obviously, billboards are a big thing, but decency laws and standards, they differ from country to country. And in the UK, we struggle so much with the advertising of bras and lingerie and these kind of things, or dating sites, etc., just being in the public. But what if I say to you that there are places, there'll be a masjid, and right next to it will be a huge billboard, and they will resist the pressure from the Muslim community to put that up. So a person going to the masjid is having to look at an undressed woman, a scantily dressed woman, lingerie, etc., etc., meaning that you can't ban everything. I have a story. I put my eldest into an Islamic school type kind of Arabic Quran kind of thing, which was a very intense kind of very practicing environment, not your normal 2 hours qaida in the mosque situation 5 times a week. No, 2 times a week after school that was teaching an Arabic school syllabus from abroad. So it's very intense kind of thing. And it was held at a normal school, a normal secular public school premises. After it would finish, basically twice a week, the school would be cleaned up from the school day, and then the Muslims would come for about 4 hours, and they would do like this, this study. And my kid used to go to that. I think it was 7, 6, 7, 8 years old, and brought up with the whole kind of haya, modesty, understand, shame. That's the normal kind of thing that we bring kids up. When you see any nakedness, their own nakedness, we get them used to the idea that you shouldn't walk around naked. Shame. This kind of buzzword, if you like, that they use themselves, and encourage them to say it if they see naked skin of any type. Just the concept of covering, and doing all the normal things that we would do, try to avoid the kind of nakedness and the sexual material out there. And he's gone into his class, and the teacher's not there yet. And a couple of early students have got there. They're all waiting now for their teacher. The parents obviously drop them off at the door, and then they know they go to their class. They're going to be there for 4 hours. So there's these young kids. They're in there, all 7 years old. And Isa, he's found a magazine on the top of one of the desks. And all the kids are looking at it. It's also shiny and glossy. It's turned out to be a pornographic magazine. So this is, as I said, a very controlled Islamic environment where they're going to have, an Islamic school, everything that you can just think of, the stereotypical kind of place. What's happened is that when they decided to open the pages and they've seen nakedness, Isa's closed it and said, shame, at a simple, innocent kind of level. And, whatever, all the kids are kind of, doing whatever they're doing. The teachers come in, and the teachers come in, they've actually gone to teacher, this was left here, teacher had a heart attack, obviously, and it's just transpired that the caretaker that's meant to go around and, obviously prepare the desks and clean the area ready for the next batch of students, some pervert, whatever, is carrying his mag around, and he's just left it there as he's, whatever he's cleaning. And the lesson is that whatever you do and however much effort you put in, even in the most unsuspecting, most unexpected environments, your kids will come and be exposed to a test and a trial. Haram. You cannot ban everything. So you have to have the talk. You have to be open with your child. You have to get them aware of the reality, whilst, of course, going hardcore and making sure that they're not accessing these things themselves, using whatever practice you do. Folks come to me and said, when did you have the talk about relationships and sex and all this kind of thing with your kids? I started early with mine, and I took an opportunity. And you could not say what I said. You could not do what I did, because you need an entire identity to have been formed, a relationship with your child. You do not copy me. You just know that you work on your relationship with your child to be able to deliver the message in the most effective way.